Like so many of you, I have a fascination with movies. My favorite actress is the magnificent Bette Davis. My favorite type of movie, 1950s B science fiction, such as the camp classic Invasion of the Saucermen. My favorite period in movies, the silent era. I've personally found three 35mm silent movies, one a 1915 horror flick titled Satan's Signature. These films I donated to the American Film Institute, where they have been restored and are now housed in the AFI's collection. So when I came upon a vintage article titled, I Missed My Calling, I was engrossed. I have decided to share parts of that article with my viewers. This was published in 1968, and the only thing I have changed in bringing this to you are the names. So let's begin, and I quote the article. My home was at Richland Center, Wisconsin, about 68 miles west of Madison and La Crosse. And when I was 10 years old, I got a job peddling handbills every night after school, telling of the feature movie to be shown at the local movie house that night. I was given 2 passes, one for myself and one for any boy I chose to help me. I don't mind saying I was the most popular boy in school because all the boys wanted to help me. At the end of the week, I was given 25 cents, of which I saved 15 cents, and the rest I spent on candy. It was my job also to go to the post office to get the evening mail, and standing in a long line waiting for the mail to be sorted. The one projector was in a tin booth up in the balcony of the theater called the Lyric on South Central Avenue. There was 1,000 feet of film to a reel, and having only one projector, we had to have a short intermission to change reels, and they would flash on the screen, "1 moment please." Just before the show started, they would flash, "Ladies, please remove your hats," because ladies wore wide-brimmed hats at that time, and if they left them on, the person behind them could not see very well. The last year I worked there, which was 1911, they used to let me go into the booth and turn the crank on the machine. It was so hot, but I was better than anyone else at taking the heat. For a bright projection light, they used at that time 2 carbon sticks adjusted so it formed an arc to be adjusted every so often. The throwaway ends were very good to mark on the sidewalks with for kids. One evening, the owner of the theater wanted me to go upstairs and help turn the large ceiling fans. We didn't have air conditioning in those days. The 2 fans were run by a large sprocket wheel turned by a crank. A chain from that ran to these 2 fans. 2 boys were required to turn the wheel, and we would actually change off about every 5 or 10 minutes because it was a tiresome job, as I found out. One boy was sick that night and didn't show up, so I had to take his place. I suggested that the owner get a little gasoline motor to run those fans, and I figured we could vent the exhaust out of one of the windows. I got a better job at the Orpheum Theater on North Main Street. My job there was to sweep out and to sell candy during the change of reels. I could pocket all the money I found on the floor, and sometimes, if it would reach to a whole dollar. A young girl named Bessie played the piano all during the show, with the tempo to match the pictures on the screen. And a man named Ralph would handle the sound effects off stage, such as horses running by 2 coconut shells cut in 2 on a slab, or if guns were used, he would shoot a pistol with blank shells at the right time. When a Western picture was shown, we put on a parade with all the horses we could muster, and us boys would dress up like cowboys and Indians. Mr. Jones would erect a big black tent at the Richland County Fair and show movies, and each showing played to a packed tent. I would dress up like an Indian with a sandwich board for a sign advertising the show and walk around the fairgrounds. My father moved to a small farm in 1911, just outside of Lloyd, Wisconsin, so that ended my movie career, and I became a farmer. End quote. The early days of cinema must have truly seemed magical. I remember my mother telling me about the first sound movie she had ever seen. She said it featured Al Jolson singing. There are probably not many people who have grown up in the United States whose life has not been in some way impacted by the silver screen. Well, that's it for this time. I hope you've enjoyed the program. Please take a half a second to tick that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the upcoming programs here on the Dennis Morrison channel. Thanks, God bless, and good night.